Hello my boys, good morning. I just made my coffee here, I arrived from the kitchen, because today is a special day. GGG revealed the core system for Legacy of Prussia, which is the upcoming event in Path of Exile 1. So enough talking, let's take a closer look. So here it's the announcement. Basically here what's happening. They're replacing the Atlas passive skill tree with this beauty here, an extra panel that will be attached to the map device. Here you will be able to place certain idols, which we will talk in a second, and these idols will give you similar effects as the skill tree from Path of Exile 1. In case you're new to the game, maybe you came from Path of Exile 2, this is the skill tree in Path of Exile 1. It's a beauty. Let's sum it up like this. The effects that you have here will be now seen on those idols. Maybe this one chance to contain blight inside your maps, or maybe this one that will lower the cost of the buildings. You know, if you have multiple relics that lower the cost of the buildings, you will do basically those towers for free. Here I'm assuming, because they have not revealed this, but if they remove the Atlas skill tree here, they will need to compensate by putting these nodes on those relics. So we're no longer gonna have access to this skill tree. It will change few things, especially for the Atlas early progression. As you know, I usually go for this keystone, Unwavering Vision. You can also have this keystone on a relic, which we will talk, but it will not be easy to acquire early. We will see. So, and you will have this panel on the map device. Once you put the map here, it will have an extra panel where you will put the relics. Now let's go back here on the beautiful website. It's important to notice that you have these stoppers here. They want to make this mechanic more interesting. This is the idea. By having those stoppers there, they're forcing players to experiment with various relic sizes. You know, you put a small relic, you put a larger, a medium relic, yeah, and you will need to think of the space that it occupies, that relic, yeah, which is a good thing. Yeah, you don't want to have just a square and you dump everything there. Come on, take your shit. You're ruining my video, take your shit. Okay, you will have one large relic here, one large relic here, and then you're forced to use smaller ones, yeah? So you cannot use, for example, too many large relics. So this relic will have different sizes, as you can see here. Now, the best relic should be the large size. This is the large size, I think. Thank you, my boy. Hey, my boy. Huh. Okay, we go here back. I like these stoppers. Now, let's see here. The magic idols can have up to 2 modifiers, rare idols can have up to 4 modifiers, and also have unique idols for the keystones. In case you don't know, the Atlas tree here has keystones with special effects. This is one of my favorites for Blight, for example, Cassia's Pride. Now, what's important to notice here, idols are tradable, but they are not modifiable. So whatever nonsense you get on a relic, you cannot change it. This includes the rolls. Yeah, so these modifiers will have different roles. The higher the better. What it is what you get. So the whole league mechanic will be focused on round trading these items. So if you're planning to do solo self-found, you'll have a horrible time. In order to get a good composition here for your farming setup, you will need to do in the trade, because you will buy relics with the content that interests you. If you're playing solo self-found, it will be harder to stack what you need. You know, this is the idea. How you acquire these idols? It says here, as you progress to the endgame, you'll find idols. Because they said endgame, I'm thinking that in the mapping phase you'll start dropping them, or it's possible in the late acts, in Path of Exile 1, in the late acts they will start dropping. Now, I'm assuming that these modifiers are affected by the item level. Once you get into the red map territory, here you will get the best idols. Here, tier 15, 14, 16. Yeah, if you're doing white maps, you will get idols, but lower rolls possibilities. They won't be able to roll high rolls. But if you're doing red maps, most likely you will get idols with better rolls. So keep that in mind. You want builds that are capable of farming red maps at least. Yeah, this is the idea for the best idols. Now let's take some examples. So here it's a rare one that's spawned with 4 modifiers. Abyss cracks in your maps have 3% chance to spawn all monsters at least magic. We already have this at Atlas 3. It's not that impactful. Delirium in your maps increases 24% faster with distance from the mirror. This is also not that big. Your maps contain breaches, have 10% chance to contain 3 additional breaches. This is quite big because you can stack them most likely. It doesn't say anywhere that it's a unique effect, so you can have multiple ones. So this chance can go up and you'll have a lot of breaches inside the map. Sadly, in Path of Exile 1, we have much more profitable content than breaches. But if you're playing to power level, breach can be an alternative here. You know, in these events, usually GGG gives some prizes, makes some draws, you know, in cosmetics. And if that's the case, the most powerful thing that you can do is to power level. So breach is an option to power level here in these short events. Your maps have 35% check on Einhard. This is not that important. Einhard is not that great on events. Here it's a keystone. We have Harvest Crop Rotation. It's one of the keystones from the skill tree, which can be anything here. This is a pretty drastic change to how the endgame will play, given that Atlas 3 has been such a fundamental part for the endgame for some time in many different formats and versions. You know, I like to experiment with new mechanics, different things, but for a new Path of Exile 1 player, you know, a lot of players tried Path of Exile 2 for the first time with the early access, and they will try now with this event Path of Exile 1. But for them, they might see it confusing. You know, if you play Path of Exile for the very first time inside an event, you might have a lot of questions or even a lesser experience than desired, even for the ascendancies. So if you're playing Path of Exile 1 for the very first time, you might not like the game as much as you would normally do. Yeah, let's put it like this. Now let's read the rest. One of the major changes is that it turns specializing into different leagues to be less deterministic because it relies you on finding the items. On the other hand, it adds a layer of excitement to item drops in the endgame that was not previously there, which is true. Again, solo self-found players will have a harder time in this event because they need to drop exactly the mechanic that they want. Yeah. Unless they have a lot of time to play, this will be a little slightly harder for them. This is the idea. This allows you to have an infinite number of different endgame loadouts for content, no more respecting your Atlas 3 at all. Now you just take out the idols you don't want and put the ones that you want. You'll probably end up with a set of idols for each league mechanic, which is true. Now I need to stress that we already have this thing in Path of Exile 1. You can change the setups. We have 3 setups here, basically with the content that you desire. So we have some customization even here. Now let's scroll a little. Here it's another rare idol. This one has 3 modifiers. You know, it can roll up to 4. So here we have 3. Let's read this bullshit. Imprisoned monsters in your mess have at least 1 essence at the highest tier possible, which is great. Essences in Path of Exile 1 are much more potent than in Path of Exile 2. Listen here carefully if you haven't tried Path of Exile 1 yet. Your maps have 53% chance to contain a Legion encounter on a single idol. This means with 2 idols you will have guaranteed an extra Legion encounter, yeah? Now depends on the dimension of this relic, yeah? Because you need to place them in here. You need to fit. This is the idea, just like in Trail of Sakema or in Sanctum that we have currently in Path of Exile 1. Strongboxes open in your mess have 5% chance to be openable again. This is broken as fuck because strongboxes, it's one of the easiest mechanics in Path of Exile 1, but also can be very, very rewarding. You can open a strongbox 2 times, 3 times, 5 times if you're lucky, and you're just collecting free loot. So this idol modifier will be very sought of. A lot of players will want it because given how much currency you can generate with little effort. Here it's another one. Blueprints that drop in your mess have 6% to be fully revealed. Here it's also interesting for all the haste runners. 2% chance on completing your maps to gain a free... This is not that important. The ritual altars in your maps allow rerolling favors an additional time. This is big. And you know why it's bigger? Because you can use 2 relics. So this will be 2 additional times. And keep in mind that in Path of Exile 1 we have scarabs. The scarabs also can alter the ritual. Here are the ritual scarabs. So here you can reroll 1 additional time and you can use 2 scarabs. So by putting this into the map device you can reroll. Now you can reroll 2 extra times. And from the relics another 2 extra times, so you can reroll more than 6 times for rewards for ritual. Rituals in Path of Exile 1, it's similar to ritual from Path of Exile 2. These mechanics are pretty similar. I would argue that in Path of Exile 1 ritual is more rewarding because you have much more things that you can find. Yeah. Given that this is an opportunity for us to let us play with more development concepts, you can rest assured that you'll find a bunch of broken outcomes in true Path of Exile fashion. Basically here they're saying, man, we are doing this event here, it's much more complex, therefore expect to be broken mechanics or unintended things that will happen. And now I have a question for everyone here. So in case you don't know, GGG released this event here because players got upset. Especially veteran Path of Exile 1 players got upset because GGG delayed the 326 league multiple times. And now at the end of January, Jonathan Rogers made a video in which he was apologizing, explaining that they will delay further 326 because they're working on Path of Exile 2 and they need more resources. And what they do now, they release this event. They released the event, everyone was happy, okay, GGG is listening, finally does an event here. But now they're working on a more complex event. Instead of just making a simple event, you know, do an economy reset or something like Blast from the Past, a simple event, just make it and ship it so players can play it and you can focus your resources and energy making the 326 league viable so you can ship it so players can play it. You need to understand, in case you're new to Path of Exile, that this is an event. it's a short period of time and that will never come back. Maybe in the future or in private leagues, you know, that's all. But they should focus all their resources and energy, not creating events in Path of Exile, but on fixing Path of Exile 2 and working on the 326 league. And now what they're doing, because they need to invest more resources into making this event that they promised, they're making spoilers. In case you don't know it and you have not played Path of Exile before, for this event, they were not making spoilers like this. They were showing the event and they were shipping it very fast. Now what they're doing, every 2 days they're doing teasers. Look at this ascendancy, look at this ascendancy. So every 2 days they're doing spoilers like this, doing spoilers. Basically what they're doing here, they're stalling time. So instead of just releasing the event, they're buying time with these spoilers. Every 2 days a new spoiler, take here, look at this, take here, look at this. So they made this event because the player base got upset and frustrated with GGG always delaying, always making promises. And they're doing the same mistake. They're doing spoilers and they're delaying the event. In my opinion, if they will delay this further, I mean like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the player base will get very angry. The best thing that they can do is to release it now, this Friday maybe. For me as a veteran Path of Exile 1 player, it's much more important to work on the actual League 326 or to work on Path of Exile 2 to make it better, but not on such side events because it's a waste of energy. Maybe it's just me, what do you think? Enjoy the rest of the day and good luck.